live. Yeah, we going live. Hey, we going live. Yeah, we going live. Yeah, we going. Yeah, we going. Yeah, we going live. From the 50-yard line, we going live. From the 50-yard line, we going live. From the 50-yard line. Hey.
Hello, beautiful people.
Hello.
I am Jarrett, the football genius Burgess.
And I am Stephanie Fitzpatrick, a.k.a. the Advantage Coach.
This is episode 67 of the Field to the Real podcast. Thank you.
I learned my lesson
us.
last week. I take it wherever you say. Okay.
No, look, it's hard to like keep up with it. It really is.
It ain't my job. Look, it ain't.
We
look,
up
it's
so
not in
many
my
numbers
DNA.
now.
It's not in my DNA. I'm gonna just say it's not in my DNA. I just get on here. Listen, you do all of the technical stuff. That's what I tell people. I said I do a podcast, but really all I do is get on and talk.
Nah, you do a lot of research before.
Yeah.
When we come to the production meeting, like you be having it all laid out. Like, nah, this is what I got right here to talk about.
Y'all,
like,
I don't be trying
Jarrett,
to be bossy. Go.
I don't remember.
Oh my goodness. Yeah. So, but it's all good. We good.
Yeah.
We good. Yeah.
I think that we do a good job of, you know what I'm saying, like corralling this thing and playing off of each other. You do so much on the research side.
Mm-hmm.
While I do the technical stuff, like I couldn't imagine doing this with anybody else.
Oh, I feel this.
You are the heartbeat of not only the Field to the Real All In initiative, Field to the Real project, and the Field to the Real podcast. So,
and no.
Yes, no, yes.
Yeah, no, I appreciate that though.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Man, okay.
Well, let's get to the who's really right, because
let's go on. We're gonna try not to keep y'all too long, Steph.
Yeah, we
we've been having a lot of emotions in the last
and we appreciate those of you all who've been rocking with us.
Right.
Those of you all who've been looking at the time and been like,
nah, not this one.
We
sorry.
We got the message. All right, we got the message.
Okay.
But so this who's really right is kind of like last week's who's really right. In that I don't think there is a right answer.
Okay.
You know, I think there are perspectives, and I think that they all have a place.
Yeah.
But there's no right answer, and I don't know what the NBA is going to arrive at, or what decision they'll arrive at. So, as you guys can see where we're going, who's really right this week is: should the NBA players protest by not going to Orlando? And this was kind of started, and it's been reported on that Kyrie Irving, in a meeting, in a Zoom call, had kind of expressed that he thinks restarting the NBA season will take attention away from this movement that we've seen, this groundswell of the majority of our nation really getting behind the movement that Black Lives Matter. And so he thinks that if the season starts, that the attention will be taken away from all the protests, all of this good progress that we've seen, and it'll be placed squarely on the NBA. And basically, it'll be a distraction. So, as usual, not always, what side of this are you on?
I agree with Kyrie. And I think that funny that we had this conversation Monday, but then like since then I've been looking at things, and so as soon as Bradley Beal, when Bradley Beal came out and said he was, I'm not Bradley Beal.
Avery Bradley.
Avery Bradley.
Yeah.
Avery Bradley came out and said that he was agreeing with what Kyrie said. It was on Instagram. It was ESPN posted it, and then I just wanted to see what people were saying, about it. And interestingly enough, for the most part, people's comments were typically along the same lines, that exactly why Kyrie is saying what he's saying. I'll just say, like, the sentiment seems to be, so much bad stuff is going on in the world and in our country. We need this. We need basketball. We need to be able to, get our minds off of what's going on. And so I think that what playing basketball or anything that is a major deterrent right now would do is just that. It would deter people. It would give people the excuse to turn away.
Okay.
And not be not for it to not be in their faces, and for them not to have that, what I mean, no
Right.
choice but to this is what you need to concentrate on. And so I believe wholeheartedly that was where Kyrie's heart was when he made the statement, just because he knows that there are people, and let's be clear, while the majority of the people who play basketball are African American, most of the people who spend their money to go to the games are not.
Right.
And so even though we wouldn't be talking about, having fans, they would be watching on television, or it would give them, like I said, an out, essentially, from having to deal with. Because if I had seen that people were saying, we agree, we understand why you want to do this, and we're 100% behind, being allies to what's going on, and we're going to still continue to press forward, but that's not what I'm hearing. I'm seeing people say, we need a break from this. We need something to distract us from this. That's not what needs to happen.
Right.
We don't need a distraction from it. It doesn't need to just die here. This is not where it dies. You know what I mean? And so I applaud him for being bold enough to say, I will forego money. Capitalism does not own me. I will forego money. That's how important this issue is to me. And so I applaud him for being brave enough to stand up and say what most of them probably wouldn't have been bold enough to say. Nor did they have the star power, maybe, to say it. You know what I mean? Because we had this conversation the other day. Most of the NBA and NFL players who aren't well known, when they go out on the street, it's just like you or any other black man. So you just happen to be tall or big or whatever, and so I mean, Anyway, I'm not gonna go there, but so I think I was about to go there, but so I feel like that's why this is a good idea. If they can figure out how they can play basketball and still keep the focus where it needs to be, I don't know what that looks like, but if they can figure that out, with their platform. But I appreciate him using his platform in this way.
Yeah,
I do.
So, when we talked about this on Monday, I told you I could argue both sides of this thing.
Yeah.
Because I really do see the point of both sides. But I came to the conclusion, and this is like Wednesday after we met on Monday, after hearing Kyrie came out and said some more stuff. Avery Bradley came out and said some stuff. And it kind of strengthened me in this position of, one, I think the players have to play. But it's one of those things where I feel like, so sitting out is a great tactic, right? Mm-hmm. It's a great tactic, but it can't just be sitting out for sitting out's sake. Can't just be sitting out just to take away the distraction from the movement. Mm-hmm. These billionaire owners have weight. Mm-hmm. And so if we are saying, let's sit out until we get, mm-hmm. I am totally for that. Mm-hmm. Because I feel like these owners will acquiesce. Yeah. But the issue is that if we just sit out and we just say we don't want to take away from this movement right now, and all of the players on the unified front decide to sit out, what happens is, and this is just my first point, what happens is the CBA gets ripped up. Mm-hmm. Players no longer have any leverage. Mm-hmm. And while at the moment basketball shouldn't be at the forefront, mm-hmm. we also have to think about the future. True. You know, if I heard one report that if the players right now and the owners, it's a 50-50 revenue share. Mm-hmm. I heard one report that said that if the CBA gets ripped up and we go back to the negotiating table, the owners would probably demand something around 80%. Wow. Of the revenue. Wow. And so
that's blackmail.
Yeah.
That's blackmail.
No, I listen, I wholeheartedly agree. I think that it's unfair. I think especially when you think about the fact that 80 to 85% of the players in this league are African American. Mm-hmm. There's only one, if I remember correctly, there's only one African American owner in the NBA. Mm-hmm. But and this is my second point. What I think is on the side of the NBA that none of these other leagues can, I guess, maybe tout is that their owner is all for social reform. Yes. Not the owner, excuse me, the commissioner.
Yeah, Adam Silver. That's what I know what you mean. I'm sorry. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. The commissioner is all for social reform. And so I think that if there is let's not just say, let's just sit out. Let's sit down together, come up with a plan of saying, these are the demands that we want to offer the NBA owners. Because in your respective city and state, you have clout. We need to use this clout for reform. Mm-hmm. And so this is what we need. And there needs to be a bulleted list of the things that we need to see done. Now, will it happen overnight?
This is basketball or is this in society?
No, it's the list. The list is
just for basketball.
It can start with basketball, but I was thinking past basketball. I was thinking the poor that they have in their states, because for a lot of these states, without the professional athletes, their tax base is gone. Right. A good portion of their tax base is gone. So, they don't want to lose this money. And if we can use that as leverage, then we need to. But it shouldn't just be, let's just sit out. Let's threaten to sit out unless these demands are met. You know, because it turns into and I get it. I was thinking about it from the standpoint of what Steven Jackson was talking about. Like, we seen the T-shirts. We seen the I Can't Breathe T-shirts. Yeah. But these things are continuing to occur. Right. That's not making a difference. Right. Yeah. And so, but my thing is, just sitting out, I don't know that makes a difference either. Right. Because what it does is it lessens the voice of you as a player. We know you, Kyrie, because of what you do on a basketball court. And if you don't use that platform of being on the court, you can hijack this whole thing. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. If you're not in that arena, we may not hear your voice as much.
I hear you. Okay.
So, I just think that there needs to be like detailed steps of this. This is a hostage situation.
Mm-hmm. On either side.
Listen, we holding the basketball league hostage. We'll give you basketball back, but this is what we need. You know what I'm saying? And so I don't think you just take, the person hostage and just kill them.
No, that's
Let's get some. Let's
that's
get
not
something.
a ransom.
Yeah, let's get something in exchange for what we're holding this NBA season hostage for.
Okay.
That's my only,
Well, luckily for you, it looks like as I'm sitting here, I'm reading that they had a meeting on Monday. Avery
really?
Bradley, Kyrie Irving, with the league, to be a voice for the players who are concerned about going back and playing,
right.
because of the social justice issues. And so, I think that what you're saying is exactly what they're trying to do, is bring to the table let's see, I'm going to just read what it says. For the moment, Irvin and Bradley's group are attempting to discuss issues of social justice reform and the league's investment in those issues. The Players Association and the league have been discussing ways of ensuring that as many players as possible rejoin their teams before the start of the renewed season. But they want to, I think that what they're doing is trying to have them have have a plan in place before the players agree to come back.
Right.
What is it that the NBA plans to do to assist? And so that was the other thing. Avery Bradley had said that, and that was part of what I was reading in the comments. It's not the NBA's job to do this. This is a political issue. The NBA pays you all. Use your own money. Those types of things. Were the thing, yeah.
Really?
Yeah. Those were the things that were being said. That's not the NBA's job. They pay you to play basketball. So essentially, you're saying shut up and dribble.
Yeah.
So,
that's not gonna work for me.
So, but this is my fear.
Yeah.
When it comes to them going, you know what I mean?
Sorry.
Like, yeah, this is my fear that it'll just be that's where the mindset is. Like, they just shut up and dribble. You're just an athlete. Just go do. And so I think if they can use this coalition that they've created to, like you said, not just not play. I agree with that. Not just not play, but not play. If it's not play, then not play until what? Like having a solid plan in place, or a solid ask in place of what it is that you do want to see. So yeah.
And that's why I said that, like, this one ain't really a who's really right. Like,
I mean, no, not really.
I feel like even after discussing it on Monday, I felt like we would probably meet somewhere in the middle, because it's not that I'm just like, go play, forget everything. Yeah. And it's not like you're just like, don't play and don't worry about it.
Right. No.
Like, there's what happens next?
Right.
Let's use our leverage. And so we don't necessarily need y'all to vote on this one.
I would like to hear people's opinion.
But I would, definitely. I would like to hear your opinion. And so if you are listening to this, certainly hit us up on Twitter or Instagram to let us know your opinion about this Who's Really Right. Yeah. And if you are watching this on YouTube, I'll still put the poll up as long as I can. I would like you to voice your opinion in the comment section. Certainly certainly follow, but
and
definitely
subscribe.
Comment. Yes, subscribe. Yeah. Yes. And let us know what you think about this topic and what you feel like the NBA should do.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
The NFL COVID testing policy.
Y'all, Jarrett be telling me, my face.
Your face, your face says it all.
I tried so hard. I really do, y'all. Oh gosh.
So what is the NFL's plan for testing?
So as it stands right now, the Players Association has agreed that they would have players tested every 3 days.
Every 3 days?
3 days. I wish they would have explained the logic in picking 3 days, because somebody could have been infected and within 2 days they could be sick. Mm-hmm. So why 3 days is what you picked? Well, we've had this conversation. This was Who's Really Right some time ago. I think we were talking about it from college sports, but for me, period, I just got, and we talked about this with the NBA starting their season. Until we are, I'm sorry, if that means we don't have sport, Lord knows I want football in the fall, but I am so more concerned about people's health than the sports. Mm-hmm. And I just read today that Dr. Fauci came out and said that the people who are coming up with these vaccines have predicted that there will not be vaccines available until early 2021. And so until you can either come up with a better plan, I don't know. I mean, how do you play football? We had this conversation. How do you practice, work out, play football without touching, being in somebody else's face, having the projectile of whatever is in their mouth come at you? Because that's what they say. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like, how do you work around that? And
there's no social distancing in sports. I don't know why. So
I saw social bubbling today. Social bubbling, maybe? I don't know. No, really, that's a real thing.
So, I mean, the bubbling is one thing.
Yeah.
And with college sports, let's throw that out the window because there's no way you'll be able to enforce that.
Right.
With the NBA and their plan that they just put out.
That's a social bubble.
That's a social bubble. And I get that.
Yeah.
And I feel like that can be successful. You cannot do that with all of the colleges across the country.
Yeah.
And so it's a joke. I don't even think you can do it with the NFL.
I don't know how this works.
Yeah.
I mean, right now you're saying you can have training camp, all this. You can, have training. You can have them come in for training camp. They can't scrimmage with, other teams. They got to stay there. Okay, so if y'all think that works, then who is it? Ezekiel? Mm-hmm. And what, 4 other players?
Some players from the Texans.
Okay, yeah. All y'all all of a sudden have COVID. What? And so my thing when we talked about this Monday, right? I said, so you're asymptomatic, but you give it to me. I get it. I don't know I have it because it's not going to show up for 2 to 14 days, right? I'm out here, we playing football. I'm breathing in your face. You breathing in my face. I got my hand down there. You this. I done put my hand where you spit. Like all kinds of stuff. Like I'm being real. This is what's happening, right? Yeah. So at some point, you know how they do the community spread thing. Like you're gonna have to. So every day you gonna have community spread happen. If one person is sick, you're going to have community spread.
Spread like wildfire, but you're not testing, but every 3 days.
So you don't know who's sick or not. You could possibly.
Who?
Yeah. Like it should be a daily thing, period. Every single day. I don't care if they got to use the uncomfortable up to the eyeball test or not. You need to be tested every single day. Yeah. It's almost like walking into a hospital or like at where I work for health. I'm not in the clinics, but I know the process. They having people having to do a screening every morning. Something. Yeah. Like I need to check your temperature and you need to take this test every morning. Like real talk. It's not like you're Lord, I'm about to use some very harsh. It's not like you telling somebody to bend over. No, for real. It's not invasive of, you know what I mean? It's your nose. It's your nostril.
Yeah.
It might be inconvenient.
But you jokers over 40. You jokers over 40. You're going to have to bend over anyway.
Well, this is true. When you get there, that does happen, Jesus. Yes. But I'm just saying that everybody needs to be. I'm sorry. I just was saying it in terms of something that I know, which just something that makes me cringe. Like just the idea of just makes me cringe. You know what I'm saying? So that's why I use that as the example. But no, they need to. Yeah, come on, y'all. Like just test them every day. Because the moment somebody is sick, when they walk in, they gotta go. They've not touched anybody. They haven't been in contact with anybody. So that's how you stop the community spread. If you gonna just be in everybody's space like that, that's how you stop community spread. I just read an article today where 16 friends went out, and all 16 of them are now positive.
Of course. And the NFL would have to create a bubble.
I don't know what the bubble would look like.
And that's why I don't think it would work. It wouldn't work unless they did it like the NFL, but they have far more players.
Yeah.
I don't think there's one site that could house that many players. And so I don't know that you could do it. I don't know that the NFL can do it. And when you see these numbers.
So you don't even think, even if they did the testing every day?
Nope, not even if you did the testing every day. Because if we aren't putting these players in the bubble, even if you did the testing every day, and like you said, there's about a 2 to 14 day incubation period.
Right.
Once we go out and, no,
I don't mean you're going to have to just be here. Like it's like training camp. Like you're just going to have to be here. Like, I'm sorry, honey, I love you, but I got to just go stay on this campus or whatever this is.
Yeah.
This space. No, I'm just saying, but you're going to get tested every day.
So you're suggesting a bubble for every team? Okay.
Yeah, because they can't go out and do scrimmages anyway, so it's not like you around anybody.
Yeah, I do. And I agree that might work.
Yeah. Come on now. Y'all need to figure something out, but this just y'all acting socially irresponsible like the rest of the world.
Yeah.
Just doesn't make sense.
There's too many moving parts, I think, for the NCAA to figure it out.
Yeah, that's a lot. That's a lot. I don't know how they do that either.
And then with all of these states seeing
and they travel all over. They have to travel all over to play each other, and I don't know. Like unless you got private, like literally. Well, the only way it would work is if for let's just say a month, every team, the kid they didn't go to class, they didn't do nothing. They just bubbled up. They just in one spot together. And they being checked, and they've been checked, and everybody's clear, and we good for at least 4 weeks, right?
Yeah.
So that happens at every school.
So I don't know if they're doing it to the degree that you have in your mind right now.
Yeah.
But everybody's supposed to report July 1.
Okay.
And go from there. Like
you can't leave this campus. You can't even leave, like we're gonna feed you here. Literally you're gonna pretty much be in jail.
Yeah.
And so that's the only way I see that working.
One of the things I guess I think about in trying to do this with college kids is that think about the amount of colleges. Now we think about maybe Alabama and Clemson, Florida State, these schools that have big budgets.
Yeah.
And they have the money to create this bubble.
Yeah.
But not every school would be able to have the money, or they don't have the money to create this bubble, which one creates the competitive advantage, which in turn kind of alienates the school, huh?
They got that anyway.
Well, yeah, but you don't want to give it to them from the standpoint of, well, you all can create this bubble with the employees who have to stay in the bubble because they're going to be like the people who serve them food, the people who
you got to stay here too.
You got to stay here too. All these schools aren't going to be able to pay for that.
Yeah.
Like even mid-majors. Like, and we've seen the North Dakota States knock off the Iowas in the last few years. And so, we don't want to give that competitive advantage to these bigger schools who have these bigger budgets and say, well, the rest of y'all figure it out.
Yeah.
We have to at least try to create some type of level playing field. And I think that only the big schools would be able to create the type of bubble needed for there not to be a second wave amongst our athletes.
Right. Well, they need to figure something out and figure it out quick because, listen, what it wouldn't be is if I was, don't let me be married to any of y'all. Baby. You better get you a hotel or something. Don't come home.
You're right.
No. Love you, but no. Sorry. Love you, but no. Mm-hmm.
All right, let's move on to NASCAR. How often do we talk about NASCAR?
Ever? Never, ever? Ever, ever. Never, ever. Never, ever.
But what I will do is give NASCAR its props.
Absolutely.
Because I feel like kind of the tone of what I felt from NASCAR since I started paying attention to it is that it's a good old boy sport.
Just a good old boy. Makes me think of Dukes of Hazzard. Yeah.
But for them to make the statement that they did, and they said that they've been contemplating it for a while.
Their ex-president 2 years ago tried to get them to do what they've just done. He was like, y'all need to take care of this now.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So NASCAR's made the decision to not allow the Confederate flag to fly at its races. Mm-hmm. And I commend them on that because they did this without pandering to their fan base.
Yeah, because their fan base is not the ones who would mind the Confederate flag for the most part.
Yeah. I feel like their fan base is, for the most part,
the ones who have them at their own
who
house.
has the Confederate flags.
Yeah.
And I'm not gonna go into, I love history.
Of course you do.
Why are we celebrating the losers? Y'all lost.
People twist anything.
Yeah.
People twist anything. Like, it's still their heritage, and it still was my family. And right or wrong, this is who they are and what they were and what they are. So yeah, that's all. It's almost that mentality of I won't be wrong. You know what I mean? Like I won't be wrong. So whatever.
When you equate the Civil War to the American Revolution, mm-hmm. I guess when I think about it, mm-hmm. the Civil War was an act of treason.
Okay. It was.
You know what I'm saying? So
yes, it was.
The Union won. The Confederacy lost.
Correct.
And to allow them to erect these monuments praising the Confederacy just doesn't, it just does not.
Treason is treason. Like, people who participated in treason get celebrated.
It does not make sense.
You're terrorists. That's what you are. You're a terrorist, and you get a statue. That's what it's essentially.
I've heard people say this before, but I promise that I've had this idea. Like, would we have erected a statue of Hitler after World War II?
I'm not talking. I'm just listening.
I cannot wrap my mind around it.
They look at it from a different standpoint. Like, there are some people who see the Confederate flag and the Confederacy as a line in the sand about racism, about that is about racism. Mm-hmm. But there are also this huge other group over here that it's truly to them just their history, their family history, this is a part of what happened. We can't erase what happened. It happened. Now, the whole part of putting up statues to them, not sure about.
Yeah.
But that's their history. It's just like someone who's a part of Hitler's, one of Hitler's soldiers. You know what I mean? Like their family member might not agree with what he did, but they want to celebrate the fact that he was a part of this history. You know what I mean? Like,
right.
It doesn't make sense, but it makes sense. Like, I am nowhere in no shape or form, or anybody who's listening to this, am I a proponent of the Confederate flag or what it stands for.
Right.
I am always that person that tries to think about things from people's perspective. And
yeah.
I know that a lot of people, they just look at it from the standpoint of this is my family my people were a part of this war, and this was the side they happened to be on. Versus I'm looking at this in terms of it being racist. That's always the argument with the whole. That's always the argument. It's history. It's a part of our history.
No, I've heard that. Yeah. Like I've heard that part of it. I've heard that argument, but I would still need to understand. Explain to me, what are you proud of that history? What about that history makes you feel like you want to erect monuments about it and celebrate it?
That's the racist part to me. And even if it's an ignorance on your part, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
Even if you're not looking at it like this is the racist part of it, but it is the racist part of it in that it is, you are essentially celebrating a cause that oppressed and wanted to continue to oppress a people. Mm-hmm. Period.
Yeah.
This is like us having some sort of, like you said, like them having some sort of Holocaust Day. Like, who wants to do that? Why would you do that?
Yeah.
I get the principle. I get it. I'm just telling you, I know that's what people say. I'm not saying that's how I feel.
Yeah, I know.
No, I'm just saying that's how people feel. That's their rationale for why they feel that way. But either way, we started this whole thing just because of that. But anyway, Bubba Wallace.
Oh my God, yes, Bubba Wallace.
Bubba Wallace.
Bubba Wallace has been one of the leading voices in NASCAR.
Because he's one of the few African Americans.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's only been a couple.
Yeah.
And the one thing I love is that he's been receiving support because of it.
Yeah.
And for the stance he's taken, and there have been a number of Black celebrities who've come out and either said they are going to go to a race when it's close to them, or who have traveled to a race.
I know Alvin Kamara went.
Yes, Alvin Kamara. I was going to say that. He traveled to go to a race to support Bubba Wallace. And I think this is what we need to do. Like when our athletes take a stand like this, we need to stand behind them.
That's right.
Especially in a sport like NASCAR, where we don't have a lot of
of all
Black racers.
Hockey and NASCAR, but
Baseball
both of them, it's funny, they both stood up and said something like before anybody, like, wait, no, we go, regardless of the fact that that's not their fan, but they don't have a substantial loss or gain in standing up. Well, they might have a substantial loss, but they're not taking the stance because they're pressured from their fan base. This is truly or their players, because again, there aren't that many. Right. So for them, I think it's even more kudos for both leagues to, you know what I mean, for both of these organizations to take a stance like that. But Bubba Wallace, I should have looked it up who he drives for, but they even are standing behind him. His car, did you go look at the car? The car was so nice.
I still ain't seen the car. You told me about it on Monday. I still not have seen it.
Listen, so his car is blacked out, and it's Black Lives Matter on it.
I love it.
And it's got the hood has hands, a black hand, a white hand holding him, and some words under it like courage and something else. And I just love that they got behind him right away.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That's not what his car looked like before.
Right. Yeah.
So they got right behind him and came out. So like I just thought that was really cool. But, yeah, brave of them because they do have a lot of people who stand on either side. We just discussed of the Confederacy issue that could take some sort of something they wouldn't feel so good about what was said and done.
Right.
But I'm happy and I hope that this means that he said it, I believe, that it was him or something else, so much stuff out there about driving up and seeing the Confederate flag every time you go somewhere and how it makes you feel.
Right.
And so I feel like this might be the start of giving, because I know a lot of Black people who like NASCAR and like the races, but don't go because
the atmosphere.
Because of the whole atmosphere that even evokes when you get there. So I hope that what this does is opens the door for us to have more feel more welcome to go and experience NASCAR. Go support Bubba and whoever else.
Yeah.
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 Like, I'm in NASCAR City, right?
Yeah.
So that's like my thing. I'm like, if we can get this COVID thing under control, I'll go support Bubba. I'll go. Okay.
All right. So we on to our mental health moment. And this week we got Brandon Hudgens, who is a middle distance runner from Boone, North Carolina.
NC.
Huh?
I said NC.
Right.
Yes.
So he's had last week we talked about Sarah True, who was a runner as well. And Brandon Hudgens has had a really rough route. It seems like the theme of these mental health moments have been anxiety and depression. And like I said last week, Sarah True talked about how those things go hand in hand.
Yeah.
Brandon Hudgens has been dealing with both as well. But on top of that, he's been dealing with an autoimmune disease called vasculitis, which is an autoimmune disease. And we know what autoimmune diseases do. They attack, it's your body attacking
inside, right? Yeah.
So it had gotten so bad for him that in 2013, he contemplated suicide. And one of the things he said at the end of his article, he said, if you're in a deep hole, get help. Be patient. Do what you can to connect with others, even if it feels impossible. Talk to someone about what you're going through. The first step is often the hardest.
That's true.
And so
that's true.
He didn't say a lot in this article, but I think that part was certainly.
No, that resonates. That's huge.
Yeah.
Yes.
Because just like kind of the theme of this whole thing is like we all think that we're alone when we're dealing with these mental health issues.
Yeah.
We think that it's just us, and we don't want to share with anybody because we think that they're going to think that we're crazy. And so the important step is talk to somebody that you're very tight with, and even if it's just them in the beginning, like that can be the path to getting help.
Yeah.
But what you can't do is deal with this thing alone. And I want to say a rest in peace to Jasmine Waters.
Oh my gosh.
I don't know specifically what happened with her, but all of the things that I've been hearing and what's kind of been insinuating is that she had dealt with some mental health issues as well.
Yeah.
And it's unfortunate, when you hear these things, and being someone who has dealt with mental health issues myself. It just, it's a piercing at the heart to hear someone who to succumb to that fight. You know? So rest in peace to her.
Yes, absolutely.
Anybody out there, like, you know how Stephanie and I feel about mental health. Like, if you are dealing with stuff, if you are having problems with something, and I know for me, when I first started, it was a lot easier to reach out to somebody I didn't know as opposed to somebody I did know, because I didn't want to be judged.
Yeah.
And judgment from a stranger feels a lot different than judgment from your friends, family, or peer.
Yeah. True.
You know, and so if you need to reach out to us, like,
listen, we'll do our best to get you in touch with who you need to be in touch with.
Yes.
And I just want to say,
podcast@gmail.com.
That's right. And one of the things that I want to say is, even before you reach out to somebody, I think that being honest with yourself.
Yeah. Yes.
To say something like when we talked about Brandon Marshall, and he was like, I knew something wasn't right. You know what I mean? Like, you have a sense for yourself of what's going on. And if you're not in a good space, then you need to at least be able to recognize, because here's the thing, like, even a situation like Miss Waters and so many other people that we're like, wait, they did what? They committed what? You know what I mean? Oftentimes they know something is wrong and they go and they put themselves, isolate themselves. And then they have nothing and nobody to counter the thoughts and the thoughts they're having in their minds that are telling them this is the only way out. You know what I mean? Like, so recognizing that you have an issue, first and foremost, being able to be honest with yourself when you're feeling a certain way, and using your tools, even when you feel uncomfortable with saying, okay, I'm in one of these places, I need to get around people so I'm not by myself.
Right.
Yeah.
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 Man.
Yeah. That's rough.
We went from, you know, every time we talk about like mental health, but from the standpoint of like just thinking about someone like succumbing to it, like
alone. That's the thing. Like, they're always in this, they always isolate themselves.
Right.
And so even, let me say this, even for people who love people who are suffering from mental issues, check on them often.
Yeah.
And
check up on
don't just allow it. I don't care who they are. Like, real talk, but just check up on them often, because that's how they feel alone.
Right.
And even though they've self-isolated, if you don't allow them to just stay in that place of self-isolation, if you check on them, if you like, I'm coming over there, I'll be over there, you know, I just need to see your face. You know what I mean? Like, it just, I don't know. I mean, clearly,
The reason why I say check up on your strong friend is because, like, your friends who usually are able to communicate how they're feeling, you know, and usually give it to you, those are the friends who are going to be okay.
Usually.
It's usually your strong friend who is the person who takes on everything from everyone else. And we just assume in our mind that friend's going to be okay because they're the strong friend.
Because they always
will.
Rock.
Right. And so that's typically a friend that we see when we hear about these stories. And I think I heard Charlamagne and Joe Budden speak about Jazz Fly being the strong friend.
Yeah.
You know,
I can see that. And this is real, like, because I can speak to this as a Black woman. We always are categorized as that strong.
Strong. Yeah.
As strong. You know what I mean? So
you gotta take on so much.
Always gotta be there for other people. We nurture into other people. You know what I mean? So yeah, no, I agree. Check on your friends. Especially right now.
Yeah.
We just talked about this, I think, before we came on, just about the trauma that's happening between what's happening with COVID and what's happening with the racial tension.
Right.
Check on your people, because this is traumatic stress. That this is traumatic. The things that we're seeing now, that we're seeing them, and it's so often, or here, even we ain't seen any of the lynchings, but we know they're happening.
Go. All right, so on to the real.
Yeah.
Who we got?
Okay. We got Harris Farinoff. Okay, so Harris Farinoff was a baseball phenom who got drafted by the Nationals as a senior in high school, as a junior in high school. Or whatever. I was like, why are you? And then I thought about, whatever. Anyway.
DC or nothing.
Well, he must have said nothing, because he decided to go ahead and go play in college. He chose to not be drafted, and he went to Lehigh. Right. Yeah. So he while there, his freshman year, he was a pitcher. Not very good. Like he I think, what typically happens to people who go from one transition of one level to another. Yeah. They get that reality. You know what I mean? Like, what I was good at then doesn't necessarily work now. And so I think he had a not so good freshman year and ended up getting yips. Which is pretty much, it is where the brain and the body, the parts they stop talking to each other. And so he wasn't able to pitch. It wouldn't work. He couldn't get it to do what it needed to do in order to be able to pitch. And so he struggled with that, I think, his whole sophomore year. Go ahead.
I'm sorry. For those of you who have trouble kind of picturing this thing, it's kind of the same thing that what's the kid from the 76ers a few years ago. He was the number 1 overall draft pick for the 76ers. He then got traded to the Orlando Magic.
Look at me, I'm over here
from DC, which is crazy. Why don't I know his name?
I'm not gonna try to remember his name. You should know who he is.
I don't know how. I can't think
of who that is.
But definitely play with the 76ers. Once I get it out, I'm sorry. I ain't mean to interrupt, but
no.
I just wanted to kind of give the folks a frame of reference.
Context, yeah.
Right, because while they probably never heard of him, they definitely heard of this guy, Markelle Fultz.
Okay.
Markelle Fultz. Okay. So we all kind of heard about his thoracic something injury that the doctors gave him, but I feel like his situation was the yips as well. Yeah.
So it's serious. It's real. And he decided, okay, well, I'm just not going to play anymore. So his junior year, he decided, he was like, okay, I'm not going to be able to overcome these two things, these things to make them work. So I'm just going to stop. And so he went through a period. It could have been a mental health moment. He went through a period of depression because since he was playing t-ball, he knew baseball was, he was drafted in professional baseball.
Right.
So you were good. You know what I mean? So he just knew that's the direction he would go with his life. But he ended up, I think he was at therapy, actually. And the person behind the desk at his therapist, the lady who checked him in, I think, was the one that told him about a company that her daughter worked for, and thought that it might be a good idea. It was EAB, which I believe they're kind of sales, that kind of thing. So he went and started working there. Excuse for the photo bomb.
Hey, Corbin.
Right. So, he started working there. He thought he'd be there for a year. Turned out he ended up staying 5.5. And he said it helped him to realize that his time management skills were excellent from sports, and that his competitive drive would make him really good. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But he said he just kept feeling like he wasn't fulfilled. Something was missing.
Right.
And so he went on this journey of self-discovery where he said he probably, through LinkedIn, talked to about 35 or 40 people in different careers. Like,
wow.
Literally, he said it would be an interview. just kind of delving into why they do it and what is it that they liked about it, and that kind of thing. He was saying hopefully something would cross his path that would make him be like, oh, that'll work.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And so luckily that happened to him because he talked to a coach and a leadership coach he was in the process of getting his certification, and Harris was one of the subjects, one of his students that he used as kind of like his practice.
Yeah.
And so once he went through that process with him, he knew that was what he wanted to do. And so now that's what he does. He is a leadership coach himself, but he also kind of coined something called transformative conversations. And he felt like the conversation he had with the person at the desk was a transformative conversation. The conversation he had with the coach was a transformative conversation. Yeah. So I love that phrase because transition is my thing when it comes to coaching, and so I love that he coined something. It might not have been him, but just that he utilizes that as a part of his coaching. Yeah, so good stuff for him.
All right, shout out to you,
Harris.
Fair enough.
Harris, fair enough. Yes. Yes, it's just such a regal name.
Yeah.
Like Harris, fair enough.
My name's Harris, fair enough.
I love it. So yeah. Yep. All right.
Feel good final thought.
Yes. Yeah.
Tiffany Chancellor and Natalie Wright.
Y'all don't know those names. You know
the last names. You might know the last name.
You don't know them, but you know them.
Yeah. Yeah. You don't know them, but you know them.
You know them. That's right. Yeah.
So Tiffany Chancellor is the wife of former Seattle Seahawks safety Cam Chancellor.
Yep.
And Natalie Wright is the wife of former not former. He's still.
I was gonna say he didn't. Okay, I'm like, you see me like
current linebacker.
Look, I'm like, do you know something? I don't know.
Nah. Okay. Current linebacker for the Seattle Seahawks, KJ Wright.
Yeah.
And they both were, at least Cam and KJ were both a part of that Super Bowl winning defense for the Seattle Seahawks.
That beast.
When they beat up on the Denver Broncos and somehow lost to the New England Patriots.
Well, we ain't gonna go there. Dang it, we had to talk about them. Dang it, why you have to
I don't know. I shouldn't even say that.
God. We were about to get through an episode. Oh,
right.
No.
It's always mentioning the Patriots.
Oh, gosh. Anyway, so yeah.
But these wives, what have they been doing?
So I love it because they were the ones who put together and orchestrated a Bridge to the Future march in Seattle in response to all of the racial tension and everything that's been going on. And I said, Jarrett, this is a feel-good final thought because we often see the players and they using them using their platform, at record numbers. I think we've seen, especially in the NFL and NBA, these players speaking out, telling their truths, being honest, using their platforms, trying to bring awareness, supporting out in the streets, all of that kind of stuff. And it's a beautiful thing. But I think it's an equally beautiful thing to see their wives use their platforms, because let's be clear, when you're the wife of, it holds some weight too.
Yeah.
All on its own. It does. And so I feel like seeing these two women take this on, this was a huge undertaking, and it was really successful, and I love it. I love that they they, said, "Oh, well, we their wives, and we
Right.
can,
We
and
can
we
do some
gon'
stuff. We got a little bit of clout
stuff too. Yes, let's go. We don't
Uh-huh.
just sit home and look pretty. That's not what we do.
Right.
You know what I mean? That's not what we do as wives.
Mm-hmm.
And that's most of them. They do great things in their communities, and you know what I mean. That just doesn't get highlighted.
Right.
So I love it, and I love that they did this, and I hope that it is something that brings forth something even greater than
right.
just a march. You know what I'm saying?
It's dope that it's timely. You know what I'm saying?
Oh,
I guess people would do stuff now during this time, but them just kind of carrying that mantle.
Yes.
I think that's so dope.
Yeah. No, I love it. Stand out, step out. You know what I mean? It wasn't a Cam Chancellor, KJ Wright march. Right. It was, so I love it.
It was a Tiffany Chancellor and Natalie Wright.
March. That's right. Loved it. I'm all about that. Yeah. Right. I posted on social media the other day. I'm not gonna be controlled, but I need a man who's a powerful man who can get behind what I'm into and say that's my baby. Yeah. Yeah. That's what I'm talking about. Yeah.
Come on, black man.
Why you do that?
Oh no! I'm sorry. I didn't mean it like that. But I was just saying, like, as black men, we need to get behind, these
absolutely
beautiful, strong,
men,
powerful
I don't
women.
care what color you are. If you with one, you better support her.
Indeed.
Period. I don't care what color you are. Yeah. Support her. Yeah.
But okay. In preference.
Yeah, of course. Of course. I cannot.
I'm sorry. All right, listen. All right, we're gonna move on to the show picks.
Okay.
I ain't got no sense.
I'm like, really? This is what we doing today? Okay. Yeah.
So.
All right.
We don't have a lot of show picks today. Nope. But there was certainly one that we agreed upon.
Yes.
But before we get to that one, let's do the two that you had before the one that we agreed upon.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. And all of these you'll see a theme, just so you know.
Yeah.
So the first one is Dear White People. Don't do that, Jarrett. I'm trying to be anyway.
I'm sorry. Okay.
Dear White People. And it's a Netflix show. I don't really have a lot to say other than go watch it.
Yeah.
I think that it speaks to a lot of the it's crazy because it's 2-3 years old now.
Mm-hmm.
So we still seeing the same things being talked about over and over again. And so I think that the premise behind the show and the whole concept of them in this racially charged situation at all times at this prestigious institution kind of led to what's happening on a societal level. And so I think it's really important. People need to see.
Right.
Yeah. Dear White People. I don't know if that tells you anything, but yeah. Mm-hmm.
Dear White People. We're trying to tell you something.
And the other one is When They See Us. Ava DuVernay and Oprah Winfrey. This is a true story.
Love me some Ava.
Ava is amazing. Yeah. I love that she uses her platform absolutely to bring forth truth and share real life. A lot of times, real life stories of even if it's fictional, it's still what's happening in somebody's life somewhere, kind of. So yeah, I think it's that she's amazing. But this is the story of 5 young men who were falsely accused of raping a white woman in Central Park. Mm-hmm. And just the story of how they were railroaded essentially, being young, not knowing the laws, not knowing their rights, not knowing what was going on, period, pretty much, and how it sent them to prison.
Right.
For 16 years? I can't remember how long.
It truly, I think the longest person years? Was there 11.
Okay, 11 years. Okay.
And I think that was Corey Wise, who I believe was the only person who wasn't even there. Yeah. He wasn't even in Central Park. Right. He ended up spending the most time in jail.
Yeah. Says a lot.
It really highlights some of the issues with the justice system.
Yes.
When we think about race and
yeah.
the issues that we are speaking out about now when it comes to policing.
Yes.
And it's ironic that the prosecutor in this case refuses
to say that it wasn't
fault in herself.
This is what I just got through saying, that it's some people just need to be right versus it being right, if that makes sense. Yeah. Some people just need to win. They need to win versus being right. It is sad. It's sad.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But so that's why I picked them though. One's about kind of the racial side of this, and well, they're both racially charged, but one's dealing with it from a majority minority kind of in the institution, and then the other one's from the justice system. So so those were my two.
Well, we both agreed on this this will be your third one, and this was
definitely my third one, because when you said it I was like, oh, I can't let that not
be.
Wait a minute, sir. Yeah.
So this thing dropped Friday morning before I woke up, because I woke up to a text message with it in the text message, and I was like, Chappelle, I need to watch it now.
Right.
And so Chappelle's 846 dropped on Friday.
Let me tell you something. My light just went out. Go ahead.
Nah, I hear you.
Okay.
His 846 dropped on Friday, and it was just really it was powerful. Like, in talking to you and talking to other people, like, one of my favorite orators is James Baldwin.
Mm-hmm.
And I think he does a good job of speaking in a way that is comprehensible to all people, not just black people, all people. Mm-hmm. And so I put Dave Chappelle kind of in that vein, because he is able to captivate you. For those of you who are looking to be entertained by comedy, if you were looking for a bunch of funny jokes, this is not for you. But if you
funny, but that's not what it.
It's some funny parts of it.
Yeah.
But the most of this is a conversation that could have only come from him.
Absolutely. It's his truth. It's his raw emotion. That's what it is. Yeah.
And I appreciated it. One of the things that I thought about while I was looking at it was that, is this intentional? Is he intentionally talking about this right now? Because you see him look at this little notebook that he has.
Right. He never opened it
in front of him. Well, he opens it, but he continues to close it.
Right.
And it's one of those things where I'm like, I'm thinking to myself, is he using the notebook to talk about what he's feeling, or does he have some material in his notebook that he's trying to work through that he can't even get to?
Yeah, I think that's what it is.
These emotions are
I really do.
At the forefront of his mind right now.
Right.
And that's what it felt like to me.
No, I believe that's exactly what it was. He had material.
Yeah.
And he was going to probably be funny about things about this, but it just got so deep and serious for him. He couldn't, like, at one point he put the notebook on the floor.
Yeah.
Like, he didn't even have it in his hand anywhere near him. Right. And he kept picking it up and putting open, and he wrapped the little thing back, and then he wrapped. Right. I was like, man, like, whatever's in there is not important. Right.
It's not
That's
important.
what in his mind, he was like, whatever this is not important right now. And he even said that, he was like, this ain't even funny, is it?
Right. Is this awkward for y'all?
So, no, it was masterful art.
Yeah.
With a powerful message.
Mm-hmm.
It was, that's what I say. Anybody who knows Dave Chappelle knows he doesn't, he uses colorful wording.
Oh yeah.
At all times. And so, that's when I posted it, I was like, any of y'all, Bible thumping, holier than thou people who can't stand it, this is not for you. But if you really want to hear some truth and some deep, then listen. Yeah. Like, you got to just get over that. Like, sometimes you just got to get over that.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, so, I loved it.
Yeah. Shout out to Dave Chappelle, man.
Yeah.
I think it was needed. And it came in a way that could only come from him.
Yeah.
And I feel like it would be digested by many.
Mm-hmm.
I was sad to see that people who are, real comedy heads,
mm-hmm.
like they tried to dissect it as a comedy piece, and that's
not what it was.
This wasn't what that was.
No.
But
I literally thought at the end, like, man, the people who came, are they disappointed?
Right.
Well,
I was trying to figure out, because people talk about how Dave Chappelle will have a 6-hour set. And he will just be up there talking for 6 hours. And so I was trying to figure out.
I love him, but no.
Yeah. Oh no, I could sit and listen to Dave Chappelle for 6 hours.
I love him, but no.
Well, I listen to 3-hour podcasts. So
yeah, no. But, God bless you.
I couldn't tell whether it was something that was edited in the way that it was, or,
right.
And he said it was kind of raw, so it was like I couldn't tell. So
yeah,
I'm just glad you put it out.
Oh yeah, I loved it.
Yeah,
I loved it. I'm gonna have to go watch it on my TV, because I watched it on my phone.
Yeah.
I gotta go watch it on my TV now. Like, let me watch it again. Like,
right.
No, it was amazing.
I got that thing where you like connect your device to your TV.
Oh, okay.
And you can like project it from your
mm-hmm.
TV. So, yeah. Actually, no. I think I went and searched for it.
Yeah, no, I'm definitely going to find it on YouTube on my TV. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yep. Like, so, but yeah, no, it's amazing. So,
yeah.
That's a Black Lives Matter version of shows to watch.
Yeah, right. This is our Black Power show picks.
Right.
Nah, but
oh gosh.
As always, we truly appreciate you all. We're at the end of this episode 67.
Yeah.
If you want to get in touch with us, if you want to connect with us, if you just want to support us, certainly hit us up on our IG page. That's @Field 2, The Real Podcast. That's IG. YouTube is a little different. I mean, not YouTube, excuse me.
Twitter.
Twitter is a bit different. It's Field 2, Field to the Real P1 on Twitter. But if you search Field to the Real Podcast, I believe it pops up. Our YouTube page, so you can see our visual format of the show, is Field to the Real Podcast, and that's not the number 2. That's TO. And if you want to hit us up on, via email, it's Field 2, The Real Podcast @gmail.com. We truly, again, I keep saying this, but we truly appreciate you guys for sticking with us, for listening to the content, for interacting. Those of you who want to interact, but may feel a way about doing it, like, you can always shoot us an email.
Yeah,
and we'll include you in the DM,
whatever.
It goes down in the DMs. I'm sorry.
I don't even have words. Okay.
Oh
Lord.
But we love you guys. Peace.
Yes, we do. Peace. Oh Lord.
I'm sorry.
Put the cameras on me. 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 Put the cameras on me.